At the edge of a small town in Oregon, tucked beside an old railroad crossing, stood a tiny coffee shack run by a quiet old man named Carl. His shop, Carl's Corner, served hot brews and warm conversation to a steady stream of regulars every morning. But no customer was more consistent or more silent than a scruffy brown dog with one ear bent and eyes too wise for his years. No one knew where he came from. He just showed up one misty morning, curled at Carl's feet. Carl had tossed him a piece of donut. The dog stayed. From that moment on, they called him Brady. Brady never barked, never begged. He simply sat outside the shop day after day, tail wrapped around his legs, eyes fixed on the train tracks. He didn't belong to anyone, but he was waiting for someone. That much was clear. Every day at exactly noon, Brady would rise, walk to the edge of the platform, and stare down the tracks. He'd sit there patiently for about 15 minutes, watching, listening, then return to his spot by Carl's bench. Rain or snow, he never missed it. One afternoon, a woman in her 70s named Margaret came by on her way to visit her daughter. She froze when she saw Brady. "That's Cooper's dog," she whispered, tears welling up. "He used to wait just like that." Carl looked at her puzzled. She sat down slowly and explained. Her grandson Cooper had lived nearby, full of life, loved trains, loved his dog, then named Max. Every day they'd walk together to the same coffee shack and wave at the freight trains as they passed. One fall morning, Cooper left on a train to start college in Portland. He never made it. There was an accident. Max disappeared the same day. Carl felt his throat tighten. "You think this is him?" Margaret looked at Brady, at Max, and nodded. "Same eyes, same heart." Carl asked gently, "Would you like to take him home?" Margaret smiled sadly. "No, sweetheart. He's still waiting. His heart is tied to the tracks. I won't be the one to unhook it." From that day forward, Carl watched Brady a little differently. At noon, he'd set down a fresh bowl of water by the tracks, then quietly watch with him, never interrupting, just being there. Then, one foggy morning in early spring, the trains ran as usual, the whistle echoing through the valley. But Brady didn't walk to the edge of the platform. Carl found him lying beneath the maple tree behind the shack, eyes closed, body still, face peaceful. Like he'd finally heard the train he was waiting for. Carl buried him near the tracks, beneath that same tree, and placed a wooden sign that read, "Brady waited faithfully. He never gave up. He taught us that love doesn't vanish. It waits." Since then, every day at noon, the sun cuts through the trees just enough to light up that sign. And though there's no bark, no paws clicking on the sidewalk, Carl swears, if you're quiet enough, you can still feel someone waiting. And sometimes, just sometimes, that kind of love is what brings us home.